Always a concern, Paul, simply because I think the situation in Syria for Israel and for everyone else is unknown. Do we really know what Syria will look like? Do we really know who is going to govern there? The answer is no. And therefore, anything is possible. Israel decided not to wait for anything coming in Syria and take some preemptive measures, being proactive. We're seeing it in the buffer zone. The buffer zone is on the border between the two countries, and Israeli forces are operating in the buffer zone, but they're not crossing into Syria. The buffer zone was established some 50 years ago after the Yom Kippur War. It was established in May of 1974, and this is an area on which both armies, the Israeli army and the Syrian army, cannot operate there. Only UN peacekeepers. But Israel is now saying that this agreement, the separation of powers, as it is known, is no longer in force simply because the Syrian army is no longer there, and you don't really know who is the one calling the shots in Syria. Therefore, Israel decided that it will act in the buffer zone, but not cross into Syria. And yes, we know how these things begin. We never know how they end. Does Israel know exactly who is going to be the next door neighbor? The answer is no. There are some indirect negotiations through Druze, the Druze community in Israel and in Syria, through other intelligence forces in the area. But there's a lot of uncertainty, and uncertainty is something that Israel wants to be prepared for, because you never know what may happen tomorrow.
Indeed, a huge amount of uncertainty and the picture really shifting in the region. What else is Israel saying about its strategy in Syria?
The strategy is not to wait for things in Syria, not to allow the other side to dictate the events, but to be proactive. Israel learned a very difficult lesson from the way that it acted in Gaza and in Lebanon, always reacting to what Hamas did, to what Hezbollah did, instead of taking actions by itself. This time around, Israel is acting before anything is happening. That is why, as we mentioned, the forces are acting in the buffer zone. That is why Israel did not wait a very long time, and as soon as it was clear that the Assad regime was collapsing, Israel took the very strategic Syrian summit over Mount Hermon, a high point overlooking the entire region, and Israel is being prepared for anything that might happen. A lot of forces have been deployed to the northeastern border on the Golan Heights with Syria. Israel, after the lessons learned in Lebanon and in Gaza, understands that it has to take actions first, be proactive, and not to wait for something to happen on the other side before acting itself.